Hi, my name is Sonia Lyon. I'm one of the International Artistic Directors for Toni Guy London at the Academy. I'm recreating a look today from London Fashion Week for Todd Lynn Autumn Winter 2011. The collection is called Revelation Revolution. The hair is going to be a really clean, spinal, inside-out braid working all the way through from our hairline, centrally down the profile to our centre nape area. I'm going to be using the Label M wax stick to prep the hair with for my section. So I'm just distributing the wax stick all the way through, from roots to the mid-lengths, just on the profile line of the scalp. I'm going to start working with a metal edge tail comb. I'm working just about offset so that my section will be completed at about 3/4 of an inch wide, in line with the eyebrows, keeping my section exactly the same size and using the corner of the tail comb to get a nice clean section all the way down to that nape area. This is a key point within the technique, because if this profile section is not clean, you will see any little ripple or difference within this parting all the way through the braid. So now that I've secured my center profile section, separating it in two, one through the top, one underneath. So the second part of the look is going to be a very clean ponytail taken all the way from the front hairline, behind the ears, and then into the lower nape. At this stage, I'm just going to secure this area with some elastic. Okay, so I've started the braid section, a very, very fine section just back from the hairline, about 1 millimeter deep. Then I've separated into 3 pieces and started working just like a 3-strand braid, but working from underneath. So every section that I take will be taken behind rather than on top. The uniqueness of this inside out braid in particular is that instead of adding from either side, as I'm working my way through and adding hair to the braid, I'm actually only adding from the one side. So I'll be working each strand of the braid and then only taking all the way through from one side across to the other, making it faster and cleaner for the end result. So the importance when you're working from the occipital bone down is to keep your tension just as tight as it was at the crown, the occipital bone, all the way through to the nape, because it needs to look like an extension of the spine. No bagginess all the way through here. Otherwise, what you'll need to do is get an assistant to place their finger where you need to redo it, loosen it up, and go back through that area. Cleanliness is key for this technique, because Todd Lynn is known for his creative style, but also his razor-sharp tailoring. So if this braid isn't razor-sharp, then it's not going to work within the collection. I'm going to now secure it at the nape area, but you can see I've gone further than the nape just to make sure that this doesn't unravel. Okay, so just starting on the right-hand side, I'm using Label M hairspray within each section. So I want that clean, glassy look for the finish. So the hairspray is going to allow the hair to set and create a form so that when I start to work this into the ponytail, it will be molded to the head shape. So now that I've completed the ironing, working my horizontal sections to my diagonal forward, hairspray on each section all the way through, which allows me to now tie this into a clean, low ponytail underneath that nape area with an immaculate finish. I've also got to make sure that I keep using my mirror to have a look at the distribution of the hair from the root all the way through behind the ear, clean behind that ear, and then into the center nape. So the structure and the architecture of the shape is completed. What I need to do now, as you can see, there's a couple of little dusty, wispy hairs through that surface area. I need to get this to look tailored as if it's been stitched into the head as part of the spine. So I'm going to work through the Hold and Gloss spray as my finishing product, but loading it into the hair. So just about so it's looking wet. Once I've loaded this through, I'm then going to comb back over it, getting rid of any lines and lumps, using the teeth of my comb first, and then using the back of my comb to remove any of the demarcation lines that I've created by going back over and combing this through. So just working another layer of hold and gloss over the surface, I'm going to place a stocking with the distribution of my combing all the way through to behind the ear. Placing the blow dryer on heat, and then we're going to work just in the direction, the way that I've combed it into that low ponytail, so that it seals and sets that hair into place. Okay, so it's really important when you're removing the stocking that it comes off in the direction that you've worked with all the way through and your distribution. So you can see the finish and the cleanness and how solid that looks. So just coming to the completion of my recreated look from Todd Lynn 2011 for Autumn Winter. The collection was called Revelation Revolution, so working through with a combination of an inside-out spinal braid working all the way through from the forehead to the nape, and an immaculately clean, glassy finished, low ponytail fastened at that nape area.
Hello, I'm Bill Watson. I'm an International Artistic Director based here at our Toni Guy Academy in London. Today we're doing a look from London Fashion Week, and it's all about working with textures and working with ideas that we cross over from using at Fashion Week into our salons every day. So this look is from Bora Axu. It's a show that we've done now for 3 seasons, and it's been very, very successful. Beautiful marriage between Toni Guy approach to long hair and a fantastic journey forward with the idea of clothing. Probably with the hair itself, the story of the hair is about putting some height through the top of the front of the crown. We want this little bit of a 60s reference. And then the idea then goes into a very distressed, very romantic feel to the hair. A very key part of this whole look is getting the texture right with the product foundation that you put at the beginning. We're going to use some volume moves, go through section by section, massage that into the roots to make sure we get a nice swelling at the base, so our ponytail on top is really, really secure. So continuing through, just a light sprinkling through the ends, just something that the dry shampoo can adhere to later. Lovely. Now we have this fantastic texture created by the volume mousse. We're now going to go through section by section, and we're literally going to apply dry shampoo to the root. This is quite key because we need to really swell the hair. Later on, we're going to be roughing this up, and this will help us achieve a slight bagginess to the ponytail. One of the key foundations to doing show work especially is the ponytail. And there are many ways to do it. Often there are some versions that you use when you have a lot of time, and other ones that tend to be a little bit quicker. So today what we're going to use for you is one that we probably use a little bit when we're running behind. And what we do is we isolate the center of the hair. We make this really nice and clean. And then what we do is we make a ponytail high on the top of the head. This is key because when we start to bend the hair back, we want to really stretch out the head shape as much as possible. And that being the highest point of the head really does become a very important statement in the shape itself. In a strange way, your assistants are key because it's not like relating to a salon environment where an assistant is someone who's coming through. Most of the time when we talk about assistants for doing shows, they're actually very qualified hairdressers because they almost need to read your mind. It's the fact that we all assist each other in the art team. Whether you're heading a show or you're helping someone else with their show, it's a contribution of a team that usually gets you great results. It's not about individuals working on their own. It's a collective of people to produce 12 to 16 models that look outstanding. Now, when we were coming up with this idea for Bora, we wanted something that a little bit different where the hair itself looked fragile, almost like the models would look a little bit vulnerable. And hence, that's why we're using this backcombing technique instead of big sheets of backcombing, because that tend to make the structure almost look too secure. It wasn't delicate enough for him. His fabrics and his clothes, he layers up lace and chiffons and panels of even knitted material. So we wanted this sort of gappiness through the hair rather than it being anything too strong and too powerful. That's why now you can see we're not using a hairspray at this point, because a hairspray gives me a far different feel. Okay, having backcombed all these tiny little sections, now we just need to basically steal one, wrap it round so we can just cover this band. What we're using here is like a small orthodontic band. And again, it's a nice way to secure the shape and make it actually quite sturdy. So even though it looks delicate, it's got a key, strong foundation for those changes that will occur during a pret-a-porter show. Having secured that, we roll it up onto its base. And even though it looks quite delicate, it's now quite strong. And now you can see the silhouette starting to be developed. It's really got to be on top of the head, just squeezing it up through there. We leave this last section till later because what we would like to do is we actually want that itself to drape over the top, just so it gives that little antique finish to the shape. So just grabbing a small piece, and I'm just going to use an open pin just to secure that to the head, and it just gives this really quite cute feature. Now it's just a case of placing and pulling the hair around to see where you'd like your detail. Now we'll start to work with a little bit of hairspray. Not around hairline, we need to distress that yet, but just through this top area. So there, just a little bit of texture put around the perimeter, roughing up that hairline, all throughout. Just fine little touches really. And there is the finished look for Bora Axu 2011 Autumn Winter.
Hi, I'm Jo Brown. I'm one of the art directors here at our Toni Guy London Academy. Today we're going to be working on one of the looks from our London Fashion Week Autumn Winter 11 shows. The look we're going to be working with and the designer is Samantha Cole. Samantha Cole's collection was called Above and Beneath the Definitive Structure, Back to Black. So it was working with very geometric shapes, but working with fluid soft movements and a silhouette on top of the head. So to prepare the hair, we're going to work with the Label M volume mousse just through the hairline to build up strength and structure for the foundation of our look. We're going to use the heat of the hairdryer to blow dry the hair in the direction that we want it to sit. We're going to be working with two ponytails, one just sitting slightly offset and one below that slightly lower. In preparation for that, I'm working an offset radial from around the high brow, coming right down low to behind the ear. So we've subdivided our ponytail into two for our first one. The reason for doing this is so we can get the ponytail really clean and really tight. So placing your hand around the base, I'm just going to take triangular sections using the pintail of my comb, bringing those sections up and combing them into my ponytail. I'm going to work with the Label M wax stick. This is just to get the sleekness and that shine around that hairline. When securing your ponytail into place, we're using fine black elastic. It's a little bit more invisible. So we're now working on our second ponytail. Now there's a little trick to this. As it works, it comes over the top of our first ponytail. So we're going to be hiding that first offset radial that we put in to section off the front to the back. So we're working it up, standing to the side and combing the hair over to our second ponytail. We're still working with a subdivided manner by taking sections from below and combing them up and over. The reason for doing this is we don't want too much hair in our hands. So when working through the back area, where we're now taking our sections up through the hairline at the nape, we're going to place the model's head slightly back. Now the reason for doing this is we want to keep the firmness throughout that back area. So when the model pops their head up, it will be a little bit tight, but we can loosen it by just massaging. With Samantha Cole, her designs are very simple, but it's the textures and the imprinting that she does on her clothes that makes them special. So we really wanted to work with more of a fluid, almost Fifth Element kind of feel to it with the tubing. So I'm just working on getting the cleanliness in, because that really is the key point. As the model walks down the catwalk, the first thing you see when you're working with high ponytails is the cleanliness and the shine through that back area. Okay, so we've worked the 2 ponytails. Now we're going to be working with some bandage. It's self-adhesive, so it sticks back onto itself. And the reason we're using this is we want the ponytails to stand away from the head. So we're going to place the bandage around the base of the ponytail. You need to make sure that the hair is erect away from the scalp, and we place it really tight. So once we've wrapped it all the way around, we're literally just going to push it back onto itself and it'll fix in place. So once we've completed our ponytails with the bandage, we're now going to use black PVC tape to cover up our structures around the base. Because Samantha Cole's collection was majority black, this worked really well. She loved the fact that you had that element of shine and that little bit of interest with the PVC that peeked through from the shape. Once both our ponytails are covered with the PVC tape and standing away from the head, we're just going to work with the length of the ponytail, and we're just working quite loosely with your pintail comb to create a soft texture with the back combing through the back area. When you come to your last section, we're just doing it a little bit lighter, so we're almost just teasing the hair opposed to creating a rough structure. We're just going to smooth that over with the Label M session brush and use our hand as an arch. Next, we're going to be working using a padding, and it's a wired padding to help give us that arch shape. So we're almost working it as if we're doing a set. So we're starting at the top of the hair and working from point to root, using the tail of our comb to flip the hair underneath, and then rolling the hair down with even tension. It's important to have that even tension because we don't want it to be too baggy on one side. Keeping it really clean till we reach our base, and then we're just going to arch the hair and bend the wire padding, smoothing it out. We don't want to see any of that back combing underneath. Once we've created our shape,